My parents came to visit and we immediately put them to work in the potager. My mum can frequently be found weeding at 8:30 in the morning, before the sun gets too hot and forces us all into the shade. One of my favourite aspects of this time of year is being able to pick ingredients for dinner straight from the garden. Admittedly, these radishes are ginormous, as I forgot about them. It's definitely salad season. Time to pick the cherries. They're sour cherries, so in theory not that delicious eaten straight from the tree. Most of the family disagree with that though. We love having them in porridge for breakfast.
I spent the morning destoning the cherries. There's only a short window where the cherries are ripe before they start to go rotten or get eaten by bugs. I'm freezing them on a tray so they don't all clump together. Once frozen, I take them out and put them straight into a freezer bag. Because we haven't got anything in the beds, the weeds have gone quite crazy this year. We've been really late with everything. We've had a few kind of failures. It took us a while to get the polytunnel up and running. So this year, I don't know, may not be as abundant as last year. And as we said in the podcast, we are spreading our time amongst different things. So the garden will fall by the wayside slightly, but you know, just got to do a little bit of weeding here and there, and tomatoes will go in here as soon as it's ready. I really haven't done any weeding with my hands this year. I don't know why, maybe partly it was raining and then just got really hot and I don't know, just wasn't feeling like it because there was just too much, when actually doing a little bit every day helps. But there is something a bit grounding, it's a bit like electricity, isn't it? There's energy everywhere, and I guess there is a healing property to feeling the ground and getting the energy from that, and perhaps that's what's been missing in a way, is not doing gardening and weeding as much as last year, but also, you know, throwing with the clay, feeling the earth. I might sound a bit kind of woo-woo here, but I think it does something, doesn't it? It must do. Compared to flicking on your phone for, 6 hours a day. It's got to do something up here. It's got to do something up here. So those of you that have been watching since the start of the year will realise that we had to turn 3 of these beds because we had really bad couch grass, and so maybe a lot of the weeds came to the surface and they're particularly bad, and we haven't put on as much mulch or compost as we did the previous year. Also, the mulch that I did put on probably did contain a lot of weed seeds because it was kind of homemade compost. I don't think it probably had the right consistency of water in it, so it was kind of dry and maybe the seeds did not die off. So a combination of problems has led to this weed bomb. Isn't it funny how everything these days where it's extreme you add the word bomb on the end? Heat bomb, weather bomb. Seems like maybe the good news is there is less couch grass. So every cloud has a silver lining.
Something I need to practice is making handles. I hope to make a lot of mugs this summer, but I need to find a way that works best for me. The great thing about clay is it's reusable. If you make a mistake, you can recycle the clay by adding it to water. Once mixed, you let it dry on a plaster board. I've been using the underside of these floor tiles, basically anything that will help absorb the moisture. Now it just needs to be wedged. This process takes all the air bubbles that have accumulated, and it also tightens all the tiny clay particles. This all helps reduce problems in the throwing and firing process. The view from our home is something of real beauty. The ever-changing landscape due to seasonal changes and crop rotation. The wheat fields remind me of the final scene in the film Gladiator, where, in his visions, he returns home to his family. It had such an emotional impact on me that I believe this vista has always been my dream. A simple life with my family, surrounded by nature. So,
Welcome to the shop.
yeah, welcome to the shop.
Today, we got the keys to our shop. We'll be here for the next 3 months, but we've got a fair bit of work to get it how we want it before we open next weekend. Is the back of the shop. Very rustic, is how it was described. I'm scared to open any doors. Oh, what is this? A cooker. What is that?
Pretty, huh?
Whose garden's this?
We're selling in a shop in a town in France. How fun is that?
Yeah. No, we're not selling yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's something.
We have the shop as part of a local arts initiative, Richelieu en Art, which encourages artisans to open spaces in the town's empty shops. It means there's more to see and do for tourists and locals. Plus, it means for us we get the chance to have shop space for a minimal fee. Until fairly recently, this was a shoe shop. It's been here, owned and run by the same lady for over 40 years.
3 meters.
While we're feeling the pressure at the moment, we're excited to make the most of this opportunity.
It has become much easier to work in the studio during these summer days. The workshop stays cool, but there are still some challenges. The warmer weather does mean the pieces can dry too quickly. So making sure they dry evenly by taking them off their bats and allowing the thicker bottoms to dry is so important. Once leather hard, the next stage is trimming, removing some of the excess clay. Sometimes you make mistakes, but it also helps to sharpen your tools. So these are soap dishes, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to trim some of this excess clay off here around the edges. They're actually quite thin, so they don't need much. And for this, I'm just going to put it in the center of the wheel and then just make sure it's centered and just trim a little bit of this kind of excess off the edge here and just see if I can flatten the bottom. So here are some plates. I'm going to try and take these off. They should just peel off the board here. They might need a little go through. Look at that. So 450 grams into a plate that is 19.5 centimeters, just under 20 centimeters. For the plates and soap dishes, it's easier to trim with just my hand acting as pressure on top. You just have to be really quick to catch it if you feel it spinning off.
So what I'm doing here, this is the garlic that we harvested last week. It's dried out a little bit, but all of this rust is a disease, and so taking it off will help it not spread. And I don't think it can affect the garlic, but certainly taking off some of these dried layers, just making them look a little bit neater and you know, less likely to go rotten, I guess. And last year we didn't store them very well, so this year we're going to do a better job of storing them quickly away from the light. And yeah, we should have enough for the year, I think. Something you might notice behind me is some scaffolding. So my neighbour kindly lent us their scaffolding, and we put that up this morning. Yeah, really quickly doing it together, and we are ready to finish pointing the barn. And in fact, we were meant to have a roofer come this month to fix the beam at the back, but unfortunately he's delayed because of the bad weather in May, and so it will be July. So there is potential that a lot of the wall could get finished before then, and I can start, you know, making progress with it. All I do need is some more sand.
We're going to enjoy the weekend relaxing in the pool, but we will be back next week. Yes, we said next week for another video.
What's that?
So, see you then.
Shoulders?
Yeah, you make shoulders.